Cross the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the God of thunder, mighty Thor.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. You can follow me on social media. I got the links in the description below. I also have links to the issues, so you can, if I'm going too fast, you can just kind of go in there and take a look yourself in the Marvel Wiki. Today we're going to be looking at Thor 350 and 351 from 1984, written and drawn by the great Walt Simonson. As we left off, Beta Ray Bill has returned. So I have a playlist of all of Walt Simonson's Thor up to this point, and you can find those in the Walter Simonson Thor playlist. I have his complete run thus far. I own all the issues that I am showing digitally. So I just figured it's so much easier to show them digitally than it is to do like Cartoonist Kayfabe or other places, and just it's just so much easier and probably easier for the reader to look at them. So I only share the comic books that I own. If I don't own it, I don't put it on this on here. So everything is mine. So great cover by Simonson. Simonson is one of my most favorite artists of all time. So we start with Beta Ray Bill and Sif, sort of how we left off in the previous issue, as Odin has brought them here to face off. We have the credits. The letters, of course, are by the great John Workman, one of the three greatest letterers, with Todd Klein and Thomas Zukowski being the other. So the big crisis is coming, in which Surtur is going to be attacking Asgard, and Odin needs all the help he can get. Thor greets Beta Ray Bill, and then Beta Ray Bill introduces himself to the Warriors 3, and Thor talks with Lady Sif, and Odin says, it'd be nice if we could all catch up, but there's a great evil coming. So they go outside where all the warriors of Asgard are summoned. Thor comments that not even a breath of wind is, everything's eerily calm. Odin arrives and calls up the final warriors that will join the Asgardians. And Odin calls upon, I love how I just love Simonson so much, but I love these and the energy, how he draws it. So and then of course he's a huge Kirby fan, so he always does the Kirby crackle. So we got the Executioner, we got the Enchantress, and I don't know who this dude is, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm sure his name will come up. But this is not Loki, even though he's colored like Loki. This is just a warrior. He says he sees that one has not answered the call. Of course, that is Loki who he's referring to. So this is not Loki here. And so he begins to recount to all the people about Surtur and his blade Twilight, who is going to destroy the universe itself. And this is just kind of showing what Ragnarok has predicted, and how he has, pretty much the opening the cask of ancient winters. And so Surtur is coming, and that's essentially why they all have to stop him. They have the eternal flame in Asgard, which is what he needs to use to light up the sword. And so they all basically stand there to prevent him from basically doing that. Love the epic scope of this, and look how Simonson does not have to draw everything. He just it is so good. So many artists would try to draw. I would try to draw every figure, and Simonson is just like squiggle, 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 and a few heads here and a few heads there, and then you can tell what it is. So, I love artists that can do that. And anybody could do that. It's just that when I do it, it just looks, I don't know. So I've got to learn to be a little bit more minimalist with my work. So Odin asks the Asgardians to follow Thor. He will lead them to Earth, and Beta Ray Bill will be his second in command. Um, and that is where they're going to um, start. Odin himself is not going to go. Odin is staying because if they should fail or somehow he makes it there, him and Heimdall will be the last two to try to stop Surtur. Bill is asking if perhaps Sif should stay with Odin and Heimdall, but Thor tells him that there's nothing he can do because Sif is a true warrior and she will go. And she tells him he has tried in the past and always fails. So she's a warrior. And so Thor prepares to lead everybody through the Rainbow Bridge into Earth. And off they go. And here's Heimdall telling him that the only way they'll make it through to Asgard is if he dies. So, and another great panel by Simonson. And again, he just draws the main figures and then just little heads here and there. So, Simonson liked it so much, he signed this panel. And so, Odin is alone now and is disappointed Loki did not come, and wish he would have joined them in their final hour. His other son and greatest failure. So Frigga has gathered the kids as asked, and she wants them to take them away from Asgard because they are the future. So this Grunhild says they're not going. They want to help and fight. So Odin tries to convince her, but she's like, nope, we're going to fight too. And then Odin ponders as she tells him he can't make them leave. And so Odin tells Frigga to just wait a moment. He's going to talk to little Grunhild, and he tells her that Frigga can't overhear, but they're actually there to protect Frigga. And Odin says that if she were to remain behind, he would not be able to fight, and they will actually be her protector. So she agrees to it, and Odin waves goodbye to her. Now this is a very stark contrast from the modern times, in which Thor's mom, who is Frigga here, a little bit elderly, is a younger warrior herself. So the way Jason Aaron wrote her in his Thor run is a lot different than the way she was portrayed. And the way he was portrayed, even through Matt Fraction, through oh my gosh, I almost said Blackest Night, Fear itself. The way Odin was portrayed in Fear itself is so much different than the way Simonson, and even Kirby and Lee had done it. But these characters can't stay stagnant. So, all right, so the children and Frigga leave, And by the way, Frigga is who is the day of the week. Friday is named after her, and it's funny because Wednesday is named after Odin, and of course Thor is Thursday. So um, he asks Balder to go to the kingdom of Karnilla, who he had met when he was doing his mission for Odin. Odin wants her, um, wants Carnella to see if she'll join him. So now we go to Earth, where it is summer. However, a winter storm has broken out because of the casket of ancient winters that was open, and all these demons are now attacking. And I love it how they say, "Oh, the Russians made it after the Atlantic." Of course, this was during the height of the Cold War. And so all those demons and creatures are attacking the populace. And suddenly, of course, Thor has arrived as he threw his hammer at them. I love this one here. And he's not alone, as some of the Avengers made it. Scarlet Witch. This is Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel during that time, and then this is Eros, Thanos' brother, I believe. He was a member of the Avengers, so he got a few of them, and of course, he stands before Surtur. Um, Amazing! What an amazing artist he is. And so now we are back in the kingdom of the Norns with Carnilla. Balder is trying to convince her to join. She says no. And he continues to plead. She finally relents and says she wants him. And if he swears allegiance to her, then she will send her army to Asgard to fight for Odin. But if she refuses, um, she'll do nothing. Um, Real quick, I just want to make a comment on all these little dashes that he does, and he's just, it's amazing how skillful he is. I, for the life of me, I try to minimize the marks that I put on when I draw women. And he just boom, 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 just pa 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 pa. I mean, he probably just does it so fast and can't even tell, but it's just amazing how his composition is. I mean, he's just putting the brush and just going ch 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 ch. I would never do that, but it's just amazing. That's why he is who he is, and I am who I am. So I'm making videos on YouTube while he's putting up his amazing artwork out there, and always sells because he's amazing. So, beautiful, beautiful work. So I'll go on because I could talk about his artwork all the time. So back on Earth here. So they have the Scarlet Witch pinned, but suddenly Stormbreaker hits the little demon, and comes the Asgardians, and they begin to fight. And meanwhile, Surtur is sort of not fighting. He is looking for a way to get to Asgard because that's where he needs to go. And the executioner says that every time they get rid of one, a dozen more take its place. So Enchantress disappears. She says there's another one that should be here with them. And in here's Central Park, and is this the Upper East Side? I don't know what area of New York that is, so I do apologize. Is Lorelei, and the Enchantress is like, "Hey, you need to be with us because we're about to get our butts kicked." And the two of them have had a feud over Thor, but she says no. She's not gonna do anything. Thor's gonna be hers, and the enchantress like, I don't have time for this. I don't have even an ounce to spare. And Lorelai's saying, Thor's gonna be hers soon because he's been drinking all that stuff, which of course was thrown out. So, um, and so they continue fighting, and he is going to um, create a thunderstorm here to get rid of the fires. And now, because of their smoke, so they can't see anything, and so he stops the rain, and he calls upon the Bifrost so that they can all go home. And he realizes that he couldn't find Searcher, and of course now he sees it. He goes to fight him, and he realizes that Searcher is actually an illusion, and he's gone. And so he hears the horn of Gjallar, which is Heimdall's. The enemies of the gods stand before the gates of Asgard, he says. And he realizes that this was Searcher's plan to that Thor would create the very path that would send him to Asgard. And so the story then continues. And we go to Thor 351 with a battled Thor. Great cover. All of Simonson's covers are amazing. So they're trying to fight everybody else that's sort of left. Again, we got the credits here. And he tells everybody, they got to find a way back to Asgard. And so Thor basically leaves without them because he's got to go. Bill calls out for him, but they need to, now other heroes have joined through the fight. There's Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, the Vision. So they're doing what they can to disperse all these demons. I like how they call it a doom tube instead of a boom tube. So without Surtur, it's becoming easier to defeat. Even though there's a lot of them, the warriors just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And so we go back to the Kingdom of the Norns. So we get a quick recap here and of what she had asked of him, and he laughs and says, "You're not so vain as to, do this. You're not, a spoiled child." And he kisses her, and he's basically says that she'll get to know him. So I'm not saying he took her on it, but he's, these two are gonna get into a relationship, it looks like. And so we go back then to Earth. So soon Roger joins the fight. If you remember him from the previous issues, again, there's a playlist with Simonson's Thor run up to this issue, and depending on when you listen to it, there could be more. So he introduces himself to them, and Bill tells him Thor had to return to Asgard, and he's in command. And he says that he thinks he has an idea on how to stop the winter, and says he's been studying, and he needs to return to England. He found an answer, and Reed volunteers to help him. And there is a ship that Reed constructed in his spare time, and tells Johnny to take Roger to England. And so they continue to fight and suddenly the army has arrived, and they help as the army and the Avengers and everybody just continues. And apparently there's a gateway. I think I missed that. So, and they need to destroy that gateway to keep these creatures from still um, coming into Earth. And Bill says he's under command, so everybody needs to listen to him because he speaks for Thor. And the warriors all tell, or the Vision tells him that tells the general that the Avengers will listen to Bill, and they should as well. So Bill tells this guy here, Harrican, he's one of the captains, to have him and his men go to that gate. And when the demons overwhelm them, they are to retreat and let the demons follow them. Of course, he doesn't want to do it because he's like, well, if we run, it'll look like a coward and then they won't get into Valhalla. But Elif from the few issues back tells him that Thor put him in command and that is good enough for him. So, he is about to then give everybody the plan. So, this guy's name was Tur. Remember, I said I didn't know what his name was. So Tur, and it says him and the executioner must, and then mumble, 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 mumble. So we're not privy to the plan. So, all right. So now we are back in Asgard, and of course Thor has gotten there. So he sees Heimdall about to go one-on-one against Surtur, which is a bit of a, well, let's just say it wouldn't go well for Heimdall. So Thor is going to try and help him out. Heimdall is extremely brave. He's Sif's brother, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Surtur strikes him, and Thor yells, and Surtur picks up the sword and smashes the Rainbow Bridge. And you can see there the bridges going out in pieces. I love the sound effect, but then also with the colors of the rainbow. And Frigga and the kids here, I love this panel. I love how he just does this here. They're trying to make their way out, and there's a troll. He says, if you give me one of the kids, you can pass. Otherwise, he'll kill him. And in New York, you can see fragments of the bridge, which Sif notices, and she's like, we need to get to Asgard. And Bill says no. He says she can't go. And he says, this is how you keep your pledge. Nothing shall separate us. More and more demons are coming, and he says she needs to continue doing her job. She's, of course, angry. It says if Thor and Odin can't do anything, then neither can we. So, Sif is going to lead the warriors, and she's like, follow me to hell. And they're all like, all right, we're going. So Heimdall is falling, and Thor catches him, uses his hammer to get up, puts him in a rock, and Thor's going to fight Surtur. This is such an epic. I mean, he's been building for this story since, his very first issue. So this is the conclusion of everything he has been building through this great epic, amazing stuff. So Surtur and Thor keep fighting, back and forth, but eventually Surtur defeats him, but doesn't knock him out. And Thor's like, he doesn't give up, he doesn't yield, and he throws the hammer at him with all his strength, and he just hits him with the sword, and sends it back and hits Thor with it, and then punches him. And now he's going to go to the eternal flame, and suddenly he stops, and before him is Odin. So we end 351. So it's a good place to end. So we did 2 issues today. So yeah, so hope you like this story, because this is the peak of Simonson's run. So like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.